All right, people. Review of the week time. So, a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. Before I talk about the fights that happened last night, because we always start with them, I put a post on my community tab. I think it was on a Friday. So basically, this Friday I'm away for a few days. I'm actually going looking at flats, and I'll be away. I will obviously still have my equipment with me, but Wi-Fi can be a little bit hit and miss. So I probably only be covering news, if you know what I mean, like that, the breaking news and stuff like that. Maybe a review and stuff like that. It'd probably only be the important videos. So I'd like to, and I will be, I want to record a couple of videos over the next few days that won't go live until I'm away. And one of them would be a Q&A. Haven't done one. Like, live streams are kind of that, but we mainly talk boxing and, stuff like that. So I said I'd do a video. I hope it won't go over an hour because it could go long. But on my community tab, there is I'll probably record the Q&A tomorrow night. So for the time being, it's there, and I'll probably remove it as soon as I finish recording it. The only reason why I remove it is because I don't want people commenting questions after I've recorded it and then being like, you didn't answer my question. It's like, yeah, I've already recorded it by the time it went on, so I want to kind of avoid that. So on the community tab, go over there, anything, ask us whatever a lot of questions there already. I think there's like 40 odd. So just go over there, pop it in, and we'll record that tomorrow night. I'll upload it probably Friday at some point. Probably Friday. Well, it'll already be uploaded, but I'll make it go live at Friday at some point. Let's talk boxing. So, Richardson Hitchens. I only seen a little bit of Diego Pacheco's fight and a little bit of Galal Yafai's fight. So I can't really comment too much on it. Didn't see Sky Nicholson, didn't see Mark Castro, so can't really comment on that. And I think the main thing people want to talk about is the Richardson Hutchins Gustavo Lemos fight. Whatever you think about the result, it was a competitive fight. It was. There was definitely swing rounds in there. Hitchens held a lot, especially in round 8. He really should have been pulled up on that, because it was, I know he was buzzed in round 8. I know he was, but it was really, he should have been pulled up on that. The big issue with this fight is, of course, the 170-111 scorecard. And that's mainly what we're going to talk about. Richardson Hitchens is now mandatory for Subriel Mateus. I mean, seeing what I saw there last night, I wouldn't give him much chance over Mateus, to be honest with you. I really wouldn't. I think I think his style, I don't think he would be able to deal. Like, Gustavo Lemos is a good pressure fighter. Mateus is better. And I don't think he'd be able to take Mateus' pressure for 12 rounds. I really don't. I think he would absolutely get broken down and, beaten from pillar to post. And I thought he lost this fight. It was competitive. It was close. I've no issue with a 115-111 scorecard. I could make some of the swing rounds, but really, I thought Gustavo Lemos won this fight. We go back to the 170-111 scorecard. It's consistently happening in boxing. And again, I'm not going to flag any particular promoter because it's across the board. We're seeing this on Matchroom shows. We're seeing it on Queensbury shows. We're seeing it on PBC. We're seeing it, last week was a good example where, like, a decision that should really have been unanimous for Fundora was split. It should have been unanimous. It really should have. I think that the Rowley Pitbull scorecards were reasonable. I think maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't one judge have Rowley like only behind by a slight margin, which he was, he won a round or two in it, but he didn't win that many. So we're always seeing these scorecards that are just very bizarre, very, very bizarre, and it's always the home fighter. And I don't know really how you stop this or how you fix this, because as I said in the video I did earlier, it's not just the judges. You can also see refereeing where you're just like, come on. You could pull them up on hold, and you can pull them up on low blows, rabbit punching, or someone gets dropped and they're, beaten up in a round and, they're not looking too good. They stun the guy in the next round, follow up with a few shots, jumps in, stops the fight. You're like, what? He was beating him from pillar to post. You didn't stop it. He was stunned and you stopped it. So there's a lot of things going wrong. And, I think that if there was a unified sanctioning body, like a one governing body, which there won't be. This is just me, just thinking, outside the box, thinking out loud. There won't be. That might help, but there won't be anytime soon. And until judges and officials are really scrutinized and there is consequences for incompetence, which if you think about any job really, if you're incompetent in the job, you're going to face consequences regardless what level you're at, whether you're up at managing director, CEO level. You f up, you're going to face consequences. You're incompetent, you're going to face consequences. It's like that lower down as well. You're working in just the admin department, working on pricing or something. You mess up a price real bad and you cause margins to drop for a day. You're going to face, and you're consistently doing it, you're going to face some issues. You're going to face some questions. Are you competent? Can you do this job? That's going to happen, and that happens at any level. So I don't see why, when judges are doing this and they're making F ups and officials are making F ups, I don't see why they shouldn't go under the same scrutiny. We've seen it throughout God, years and years and years now, and it seems very rare that anything is ever done. And it seems like it has to be a real big F up, like an F up so big that, CJ Ross, Adelaide Bird, that maybe then you start seeing something. And on a very high profile stage, this obviously is not as high profile as Canelo Triple G or Canelo Mayweather, but it seems like it's only that is when something gets done. And as I've said, it's across the board. You look at certain shows and you go on BoxRec and you can even read some of the notes. You read, and there's rounds that are going like, nearly 5 minutes in certain places. And a good example would be in Saudi Arabia when Badu Jack fought, what was the guy's name? Richard something, or can't remember his name. He's actually potentially in talks to fight Bivol before he fought Lyndon Arthur. And Badu Jack, I think, stunned him in one round, and it went on. And this was past the 3 minute mark. It went on, and it went on. And that's not incompetence. I'm sorry, that's not. You're a timekeeper. You have a stopwatch. You know the time. Don't give me that. And you didn't do it any other round, but just conveniently that round. Something needs to be done. I don't know what you can do, other than and then saying that who's going to determine what incompetence is at the end of the day. When you look at someone like Rob Smith, who's, I think he's the head secretary of the British Boxing Board of Control, something like that. When you see bad scorecards on a Matchroom Queensbury show and it goes to Rob Smith, certainly a couple of years ago, he was very, I would go as far as saying disrespectful to the average fan, where he's just very dismissive is probably a better word, where you just be like, oh, what did they know, and stuff like that. You're like, well, they know when they see the wrong guy win, or they know when they see a BS scorecard, and enough people are seeing it. It's like, you're not talking about a small minority, you're talking about a sizable majority who are like, this is wrong, how do we fix it? So I really don't know. That was the Matchroom show that happened last night. Obviously, next week they have a Matchroom show, which I was looking at today. It's not really great, is it? Doesn't look to be a particularly good card. I'm looking forward to the main event, but the rest of it is a real meh. It really is. It's a real meh card in Manchester next week. Looking forward to Gill versus Barrett. Looking forward to that one. That's going to be an interesting little scrap. Gill has rejuvenated himself since that Michael Conlan fight, and Barrett, he's always been kind of European level, struggled to get on the world scene. So that's going to be a fun little scrap. So looking forward to that main event. Rest of the card, not so much. And I want to point out as well, last night, because I was watching an interview that this guy gave with Boxing King Media, and it really, how do I say it? People don't get certain things. We live in a time where words are just thrown around without any meaning. So last night, Dave Allen made his return to the ring. It was his first fight since the Fraser-Clark loss, which happened last year, I think last September. And he was talking with Boxing King Media, watching the interview, and he was saying, I lost weight, and blah 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 blah. We've heard this over the years, time and time again. It's like a broken record. We've heard it time and time again. And in the comment section, you had people saying, why do people hate on Dave Allen and this, that, and the third? They always use that word hate, don't they? Can you even define what hate is? Because with Dave Allen, someone like myself who's been very critical of him in the past, and rightly so, he's had opportunities, he's turned up out of shape, and he squandered those opportunities. That's a fact. But I always say I don't want to see him in the ring, not just for that. Not even for that. Why I don't want to see him carry on his pro career is because he said in interviews that, he's all right. He's got a young family, and, he's got homes, and he's made money from boxing. Okay, that's fine. He's in it because he wants to go down the British title road. I think that day has been and gone, personally. But the reason why I would say I don't want you in the ring is because over the course of your career, going back now a decade nearly, you've taken some horrific beatings. And like, the worst was Tony Yoka. I know people would point at the David Price fight, and I know he was hospitalised after that. They'll point at that and say it's the worst. No, go watch the Yoka fight. That's a difficult fight to watch. That's a difficult fight to watch, especially considering the fact that Yoka was more than likely on something in that fight, because he wasn't popped, but apparently he missed several tests. So, if you've nothing to hide, there you go. Not officially did anything, but he did serve a ban, I believe. Pretty sure he did anyway. And obviously the punching power went away after that. That was a difficult fight to watch. The Ortiz fight was a difficult fight to watch. The Price fight was obviously a difficult fight to watch. The Clark fight, not so much. It was just more Dave Allen not doing anything. But what's the consistent theme with Dave Allen? Even in fights that he's winning, and even in fights that he's been competitive in, he's taken his fair share of hits. He's taken his fair share of licks, as well as the clips we see of him in sparring, getting, almost knocked out on his feet by Oleksandr Usyk. When you see that, and you listen to him, this speech can be a little bit at times, not great. I say, and a lot of others say, well, we don't want to see Dave Allen in the ring because we worry about his health. Right? So, again, when someone is saying, why do people hate? He's just trying to fight. Well, it's like, hang on a minute, he's got a young family. If someone is putting themselves at risk and maybe taking fights they really shouldn't be against big, it's not like, these are small welterweights. These are massive heavyweights who all hit hard. You have a good chin, you take a shot, you don't come in shape a lot of the time, and you've taken an enormous amount of punishment, even in fights you've won like Nick Webb. That doesn't bode well, and you run the risk of becoming a cautionary tale. And you don't want that, especially, again, if the man has a young family. He should be able to, take care of his family and they not take care of him, so to speak. I don't understand how that's a bad thing, to not want to see a guy get hurt, to not want to see a guy have long-term issues later on in life as a result of sticking around too long. I really don't see how you can turn around and say, oh yeah, you hate Dave Allen. It's like, worrying about, imagine like hate's gone to the stage that it's like, God, worrying about that fighter's health. Hater. Yeah. So what, you'd rather see him get his brain turned to mush? That's what I gotta say on that one. In terms of, I seen this post now, not ideal. Dave Benavidez on Instagram, he said, I just want to take this time to apologise to all my fans, to the people that see me last night drunk. I had one too many drinks and made a complete fool of myself. Haven't we all? This will never ever, haven't we all though? This will never ever happen again. Depends on what, is it the worst? It's more so kind of like if you're getting ready for a fight, which you would be come what June, probably wouldn't go into camp. Probably would go into camp this month actually, to be fair. You don't want to be turning up at events drunk, but and Dave Benavidez, he's in probably his late-ish, mid to late 20s. You tend to see people get a little bit more mature at that stage. But look, it depends on what he did, but who hasn't got drunk and done something stupid? I sure as hell have. I'm sure many people listening have. So, I don't know what he did. So I'd like to, if anyone knows exactly what went on, I just seen it there and I just said I'd give my 2 cents on it. I know with boxing, especially when you're a high level, and Dave Benavidez has a history of enjoying himself, and it cost him a title. Well, actually, I think it cost him a title twice, because I know he missed weight for one fight. Obviously, wasn't living the life, and obviously wasn't taking training too serious. And then the other one, he was popped for a recreation. Well, yeah, it's a recreational drug. He was outside of camp. Maybe on fight night it would benefit you, but outside of camp probably wouldn't. It'd probably hinder you outside of camp, to be honest with you. So yeah, Benavidez, the discipline maybe needs to go in there, but apologize. Again, it depends on what you did, but if it's just something silly, different if you're in your mid to late 30s, early 40s doing dumb stuff and stuff like that. But you kind of do tend to give a little bit of leeway when you're in your 20s and stuff. As I said, who hasn't gone and done something stupid when they've had a couple of drinks? Eddie Hearn talking about Katie Taylor's next fight, likely going to be in early June in Las Vegas. Yeah, Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano 2. It looks likely that's the fight that's going to be happening next for Katie Taylor. Okay. Yeah, look, Katie Taylor, women's boxing in general is not my cup of tea. If it is your thing, then, go for it, knock yourself out. It's never really been my thing. I have tried in the past, but it's just not for me. There are women's sports I like, women's MMA. I do enjoy that. That's good. I like that. But listen, if you like women's boxing and that's your thing, that's fine. If you want to talk about it, I know Joe Stunner loves talking about women's boxing. He's a big fan of it. So that's his thing. Go for it. It's not mine, and if I don't want to talk about it, I'm just not gonna. I'll touch on it, I'll address it, but it's just, for me, it's just not for me. I've tried, couldn't get into it, not for me. If it's your thing, happy days. Knock yourself out, that's brilliant. Oleksandr Usyk has said he is expecting a different Tyson Fury in their fight to the one that fought Francis Ngannou. Aren't we all? I think we all are. He gave the interview with Seconds Out and I watched it. His English is getting a lot better. He says, listen, Fury will be different with me. I think Fury, when boxing with Ngannou, it's a UFC guy, blah, 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 or I win, it's an easy fight, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's true, maybe not, but I know Fury will be different with me, and I think he's absolutely spot on. And look, with Tyson Fury, he clearly underestimated Francis Ngannou. Clearly. And it showed. He can say whatever he wants. Oh, I trained 12 weeks and this, that, and the other. What did you train 12 weeks for? To lose a lot of weight or to box? Because on the ring and fight night, you didn't look sharp. You didn't look in particularly good shape. I know you've come in heavier, but aesthetically you've looked better. And yeah, against the guy who didn't look good. If that version of Fury turned up against Usyk, well, I've already done a video talking about how I don't expect Usyk to have an easy night. If the version who turned up in the ring against Ngannou turned up against Usyk, well, yeah, then I would expect him to have an easy night, quite frankly. But I don't think it will. In fact, I would bet anything that we will see a much improved Tyson Fury with regards to that. He's also had a say on Oleksandr Usyk has on Anthony Joshua. And he said that he has accepted Anthony Joshua's apology for his post-fight interview. He says, yes, differently, listen, I have no bad feelings about Joshua because I respect this man. He's a great boxer. He's a great man, Olympic champion, 2-time champion. I think it's emotion. No problem, Anthony. I remember he said, I think he even acknowledged it when it happened about a week or so after, Anthony Joshua. At the end of the day, I'm not excusing it, by the way, in terms of what happened there. But, when you've given everything and trained your absolute heart out and gone into this fight, everything in, and it's still not enough, that's got to hurt. So you can see Anthony Joshua after the fight, he was emotions were high and all that. And Oleksandr Usyk is someone who, it just seems like everything just kind of goes over his head. And that's the good way to be. It's like nothing really seems to faze him. You could see in that moment he wasn't best pleased, and, understandably so. But he does come across as someone who he's not going to hold a grudge. And he's not going to, just, all right, I'm going to blacklist you for that. So Oleksandr Usyk, Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua still speaks highly of, and likewise Oleksandr Usyk today. There's a lot of mutual respect there. They share 24 rounds. There's got to be an element of respect, but there's definitely respect there, 100%. 110%. What else do we have here? Eddie Hearn's declared that he would like to work with Al Heyman to make Isaac Cruz versus Super Mateus next. Wouldn't we all, Eddie? Oh, lads. I mean, yikes. Could you imagine Isaac Cruz versus Subran Mateus? Honestly, that right there is carnage. That is carnage. Mateus versus Cruz. I would love to see it. Pitbull versus Mateus. I would love it if Al Heyman and Eddie Hearn could do that. That to me would be just unbelievable. I'd be so happy if they could. That, honestly, that would be unbelievable. Be amazing. Be absolutely amazing. So, Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. So basically, Anthony Joshua on the Jonathan Ross show has talked about his retirement plans. So, Anthony Joshua has basically been saying that the plan is by 37, he's 37 in October 2026, and to be gone by then. Be gone by then if his body allows him. And I got the impression that Joshua kind of would know himself. I don't envision his body breaking down before that. Or to be honest with you, I don't even envision him breaking down or really going over the hill that bad by 37. He takes such good care of himself. But he's kind of given that as his kind of time when he's looking to maybe call it a day. And he goes, I think he's in the form of his career. It's why Eddie Hearn said enjoying his boxing more than ever. While you're doing that, why not stay as long as you can? I think 2 years is about right. Hopefully he gets the winner of Fury versus Usyk. Then what else is there to do? Yeah, well, I'm sure Eddie Hearn is kind of thinking, ideally if you can carry on and you're making money and you're selling out stadiums, or well, you're not really selling out stadiums, but you're selling out big arenas. Please keep fighting because I don't know really. When you look at Hearn and I look at his stable, there could be, I was thinking Ben Whittaker, but obviously he's a boxer. Up and coming, certainly in the UK, Conor Benn, but what's his ceiling really going to be? I'm sure for Eddie Hearn, he's like, please stay as long as you can. As long as if you fight Tyson Fury or someone like that and beat them, even better. He's also had his say on Ray Ford. Apparently Ray Ford, it's unlikely he'll be selected for the matchroom versus Queensbury 5v5, so that kind of takes the Ray Ford Nicky Ball fight out of the equation. He's named Lee Wood or Josh Warrington as potential alternatives for 126. Likelihood is it would be Nicky Ball. And if it is Nicky Ball and he's facing either Lee Wood or Josh Warrington, you see, Lee Wood, I would have more faith in Lee Wood winning than I would Josh Warrington. But Lee Wood is tight at that weight. That would both fights, Nicky Ball against Wood and Warrington, would be brilliant fights. They'd be great fun to watch. But I would make Nicky Ball favourite in both of them. I would. Anthony Joshua was also revealed in the Jonathan Ross show that his next fight will reportedly be in September. Now, Joshua talked about wanting to come back earlier in June. I know a few people commented on that in the video I did, and I get what 100% I agree, I concur that Joshua knows activity has benefited him massively over the last year basically, and the best thing he can do is carry on that activity. 100% I agree. So 6 months is not a crazy amount of time to be out of the ring. It's nothing really that bad. Most fighters do 6 months nowadays. But obviously Joshua has seen the benefits of fighting every kind of, 4 to 5 months. And obviously that sharpness, because you're only out of camp, you're back into it, you're ready to go and you're sharp and building confidence, all that. Could he take a fight in the interim against somebody like a Dylan White? Possibly could, but there's risk in that, in a sense of you never know what might happen. Look, I wouldn't be giving Dylan White a prayer of beating Anthony Joshua if the fight happened. I wouldn't give him a sniffing hell of beating him, but you don't know. He's powerful with that left hook. Joshua gets lackadaisical. Boom, it's over. Crap. What do we do now? And as well as that, you don't know what could happen, with cuts, a head clash, big gash. Oh, crap, there's that September date gone. And with Dylan White as well, you got the fight week last week and we know what happened. So will they do it? Look, I doubt it, but you never know. You never know. In terms of who he could fight in September, I would be saying it's probably going to be the winner of Dubois versus Hrgovic, if in fact that fight happens. And if it is for the IBF title, Dubois Hrgovic, it will likely be their first defense. Sam Noakes will face Yvonne Mendy for the vacant European lightweight. Now, is that the full European lightweight EBU title, or is that a WBO tricket title? Because I don't like the way they do that, where it's like European title fight. Oh, really? European title fight? The IBF European. Okay, so it's not. It's not really a European title. The EBU is the European title. That is the European title. If it is, I'm impressed. I've seen Sam Noakes live. Very good, very ferocious fighter. Really is. Yvonne Mendy has seen better days. I mean, that win against Luke Campbell was, a decade ago? So he's not going to be at his optimum. Will he be able to last the distance? Sam Noakes has stopped everyone he's faced. The DAZN pay-per-view price for Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney is going to be $70 US. I believe it's going to be £20 in the UK. As I said, I'm always happy to pay for a fight if I think it's pay-per-view worthy on this end of the pond. And I don't think this is. And the undercard's not the greatest either, so I won't be paying for it, thank you very much. I may do a watch along. Maybe watch it by other means, but pay-per-view, I'm sorry, I won't be doing it. No way. And I might not even do a watch along. I might just do a review of it. So we'll wait and see on that one. Ben Shalom has said he believes Fabio Wadley versus Fraser Clark rematch could be a Sky pay-per-view. Well, you may believe it, Ben, but I don't. To be honest with you, you can believe that, and fair play. You believe what you want to believe, Ben. I don't believe that that's a pay-per-view fight. I think that it's a great fight. I think the first fight was brilliant. I think the second fight will be just as good, if not maybe even a bit better. I think that both guys bring something out in one another. It was a great spectacle, but it is not worthy of pay-per-view. Neither guy is that big a name. Neither guy is that big a draw. You would need to do a very good undercard, which you did do a good undercard for the last one. I will admit to that. It was a brilliant undercard. It was a very good show, but it's not pay-per-view. It's not. And I was watching Joe Stunner's video on free-to-air TV, and I know Sky is technically not free-to-air, subscription-based, but it's not. That fight wasn't behind a paywall, and you see the benefits of it. I'm not saying they should put the fight on, terrestrial TV or anything like that, although the numbers it would do on terrestrial TV would be insane. Really would. It'd be well in the millions. I don't like all these fights. You have one good fight, put it behind a paywall. It's like, come on, what? Really? No. Don't put every big fight. And again, it's a British title fight. It's not worthy. The British title fight is brilliant. The British title is brilliant in general. The Lonsdale belt, it's a tremendous title. And it brings the best out of so many fighters. But Joshua White is the only British title fight I can remember that headlined a pay-per-view. And Joshua, even then, was his flame burned infinitely brighter than what both these guys respectively are right now. It wasn't even close. So, no, I think that Ben Shalom is really reaching there when he says he wants to put that on pay-per-view. I wouldn't if I was him, because you're going to take an L financially on that. Let's have a look-see on boxing scene before we finish up here. Let's see. Nicholson tells Serrano to fight or vacate the belts. All right, let's see. I need to have a look at Sky Nicholson fight. I really do. But people have told me it's ugly but effective, and it's like, I don't want to watch an ugly but effective fighter. I don't want to watch that. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll eventually, maybe if she's on a matchroom show, because she's a matchroom fighter, she's always on their shows. So, if she's ever on one in the future, I might have a glance and see. But for the time being, probably not. Paul Butler rebounding. Is he back? Paul Butler again? After a new way? All right. What else is there? Wadley considering options for a world title fight over rematch with Clark. I like Fabio Wadley, I do, but I wouldn't be going for a world title fight just yet. Honestly, I'd say he's about 18 months off. I'd say about 18 months off a world title fight, to be honest with you. I would. Let's see what else is there. Hearn unable to update ongoing Ben situation following twist in doping scandal. Yeah, we've seen Eddie Hearn. It's a weird one now, because Eddie Hearn is kind of like, I don't want to say he's resigned himself to the fact that, it might not go his way. I expect Ben to get a backdated ban, which probably won't affect them. But I'm wondering, is Eddie Hearn looking at this whole situation and thinking, do you know what, it's been nearly 2 years. Why the hell didn't we just do the Dylan White situation, where we could even go and just deal with the board behind the scenes, keep it all hush hush, tell Ben to keep his mouth shut. He goes away for a year, comes back, everyone's kind of forgotten about it. The way it's been handled from a PR point of view, it's just not been good. And it's not helped Conor Ben in any way. And I think now we're in a situation where it's kind of like, with Eddie Hearn's like, what do I even do now? And I'd say Eddie and DAZN, maybe more so DAZN, are just kind of like, can we move on from this? Can we just get this over and done with? Because it's been dragging out for nearly 2 years now, and I'm sure they don't want that sticking around. So I'd say it's just going to be a case of, right, let's just work with the board, maybe behind the scenes, maybe we'll get an old backdated ban, right? You're banned from March 2023 to June 24. There you go, backdated. So you're free to fight in July. Boom, see you later. Everyone moves on with their life. Hopefully it's something like that. Maybe it is, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on everything I talked about. I think that's pretty damn much it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments and everything you talked about. Like I said, it's going to be a busy week for me, because I'm going to have to try and get as much in as I can. I'm hoping to get to the press conference for the Matchroom Queensbury 5v5, which I think is Monday week in London. So looking forward to that one. I'm hoping it's the 15th now. I can see it won't be my luck, but I'm pretty sure it is the 15th. So hoping to get to that, and obviously going to view a few flats as well. That's a nervy. That's going to be a stressful one. But yeah, I will hopefully we'll have a good week. Hopefully we'll have some news breaking and we can keep chucking the vids out. I'm enjoying doing them. I always enjoy doing them, but I like doing these. They're good fun. Looking forward to recording that Q&A. Get over to the community tab and leave your thoughts, leave your questions, I should say. There for now, lads and lassies. I hope you all have a great week. I hope it's a good week for everybody. No issues. Everyone comes through it fine, happy, and gets some good news, myself included. For now, I will leave it there.